Porte cazzone con un stemma a rete, una cupulella che vi si era alzata.
I'm back in the hotel now, still in Venice, and I want to talk to you guys about the Mediterranean diet. What we understand as the Mediterranean diet is actually a very healthy one. It is mostly vegetables, usually very fresh vegetables that come from people's backyards or at least relatively local. It contains lots of healthy omega-3 fatty acids from fish and from olives and olive oil. And it also has a good balance of meat and dairy, which, as I've mentioned before, there's no hormones being used in livestock here, so we've also got good sources there. But when you actually come to Italy and you get to know the local habits, you will probably notice that there's a lot more bread and pasta used than what's typically announced in the Mediterranean diet. So I think it's important for people not to get confused with these two things. You don't necessarily want to eat the way Italians eat. You want to eat the way the Mediterranean diet might suggest that you eat. And it's just a simple concept of eat healthy, fresh foods that you can. That's essentially what the Mediterranean diet is. But let me distinguish a little bit some of this difference. A typical Italian, I say typical Italian just because I'm basing it on all the friends and acquaintances that I've had since living in Italy, they would probably end up having a breakfast that is carbohydrate rich with white bread and jam, or maybe a brioche or croissant, which is essentially a pastry, and that with their coffee. That is a typical breakfast. So it's high in sugar and carbs and all the refined stuff that you're actually trying to avoid if you're trying to eat healthy anyway. Then for lunch, you usually end up having some pasta. You might have a panini, which is sandwich, essentially white bread. For dinner, pasta is usually the primo, the first part of the meal. So they're getting pasta made with refined white flour twice a day. They're using bread almost all the time. And yes, there is sugar, of course, in the coffees or whatnot, but those are little extras. I just think that it's very important that if you are traveling to Italy and trying to eat like the locals, but trying to eat healthy anyway, please distinguish these things as well. Happy travels!
Come da venen cape di I love you.